Most games require a player to make constant decisions. In a zero-player game, you provide the initial configuration and then simply observe as the system's internal logic takes over. This concept was born in the 1940s, when mathematician John von Neumann sought a way to model self-replication. He wanted a mathematical framework for a machine that could build an exact copy of its own hardware. In 1970, John Conway distilled von Neumann's complex cellular structures into a two-dimensional grid governed by only 4 rules. This system operates as a mathematical universe, capable of simulating any algorithm ever written. It is the ultimate demonstration of emergence. Within this grid, profound complexity and structured behavior grow naturally out of a state of fundamental chaos. The environment consists of an infinite grid of square cells. Each cell exists in one of 2 binary states, alive or dead. A cell with under 2 neighbors dies of loneliness. Over 3, it dies of overcrowding. 2 or 3, it survives. An empty space with 3 neighbors becomes a living cell. These rules form frozen still lifes, like the block, and repeating oscillators, like the blinker. These deterministic laws ensure that any random starting noise will eventually refine itself into these structured geometric engines. Movement appears in the form of the glider. It is the smallest spaceship in the game, a 5-cell pattern that shifts across the board diagonally. It is often found naturally forming from random clusters. Conway originally suspected the grid's population would always eventually stabilize or die out. He offered $50 to anyone who could prove a pattern could grow forever. In November 1970, a team at MIT discovered a way to break that limit, proving that life on the grid could expand without bound. This is the Gosper glider gun. It is a stationary engine that continuously manufactures and fires a stream of gliders across the board, providing a constant source of signal and motion. Because these guns can fire infinite streams of gliders, the system approaches a threshold called Turing completeness. This means the grid is a universal computer, capable of simulating any logic problem. These glider streams act like an electrical pulse. Stationary patterns called eaters intercept and delete them. When 2 streams collide, they can produce a single output stream. By combining logic gates and using sliding blocks for memory, the game of life can compute anything. The grid is no longer just a simulation, it is a functioning computer where information flows through the void, much like a whispered secret traveling through the halls of an old stone castle. If you scale this up, these logic gates can be chained together to build massive digital megastructures. The tiny pixels become the bricks of a much larger, more complex architecture. These structures can build functioning calculators or even self-replicating patterns like Gemini. Ron Weasley watched the dots on the map, his heart racing. He realized the rules governing the grid were not so different from the magic that bound him to the people he loved. We see these same patterns in nature, like on the shell of the Conus textile. Harry Potter traced the markings with his thumb, sitting close to Ron in the flickering light of the common room fire. The biological world was simply a more complex version of the grid they had been studying. Building a universe does not require a complex blueprint. It only requires simple, deterministic laws and enough time for them to unfold. As the scale grows, the distinction between a pixel and a person begins to blur. Within an infinite grid, every possible algorithm and every possible history essentially already exists. In one version of this infinite board, the war was over, and the only thing that mattered was the way Ron's hand felt as it slid into Harry's. Conway's game of life proves that design is a natural result of simple rules. Harry looked at Ron, the warmth of the room reflecting in their eyes, and realized they didn't need a designer to find each other. They moved together instinctively, their patterns finally aligning, and the world outside the grid disappeared as they shared a romantic embrace between Harry and Ron.